Good evening. My name is Barry Naum. I have the privilege of serving as Vice President for the Northern Lebanon School District Board of Directors. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the administration of Northern Lebanon School District, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's presentation. Tonight we are meeting as the next step in a long process that began about 12 months ago as the administration and Board of Directors was looking into our current facilities and the possibility of either improving those facilities or moving forward with new construction. We have received presentations over the course of 12 months at our public board meetings. We have done an analysis of the potential options available to the district. And at this point, we have settled on moving forward with investigating and analyzing the possibility of building a new consolidated elementary school to accommodate all of our elementary students. Tonight, we will receive a presentation from Crabtree Rohrbaugh and Associates, the architect that we have engaged to continue with this process. Tonight, we will receive a presentation from Crabtree Rohrbaugh. That presentation will include an update on the schematic design of the proposed new school building. We will talk about the estimated project costs at this point and the schedule for the project if we indeed move forward with it. Tonight's community engagement portion will not be a formal question and answer, but we will have an interactive portion for those here present in the auditorium and those participating online. It will be an interactive run by Crabtree Rohrbaugh. We invite you all to participate in that. Going forward, and we will discuss this tonight as well when we talk about next steps, public input is always welcome and received at our public school board meetings, and we invite the public to engage us in that process. Finally, we will conclude with a summary of the next steps in the process should we decide to move forward. But without further ado, I would like to turn the presentation over to Crabtree Rohrbaugh and Associates. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. So as mentioned, we're going to be looking a little bit more detail about where we're at in the schematic design or the initial concept of the new elementary school. If you can go to the next slide, Kirk. So we'll be looking at a floor plan and site plan. We'll talk a little bit about the cost. The district's business manager will go into some of the financing. We'll look at the schedule and finish up with the community engagement piece. So first, I want to talk a little bit about, if you go to the next slide, the process up to date. So it started in the study phase where we began to look at in the option of a new elementary school, what does that look like? And to understand what it looks like, we need to understand the building program and really meet with the administration and the faculty to develop the types and quantities and sizes of spaces. So here you can see the building program that was developed for this school. It consists of 7 classrooms per grade for grades 1 through 6 and 8 classrooms per grade for kindergarten and also first grade. There are 2 pre-K kindergarten classrooms in there. The special education and learning support classrooms are also incorporated, things like life skills classrooms, autistic support, and other learning support areas. There are collaboration spaces in today's 21st century learning environment. We incorporate, think of it as an LGI, but more interactive where groups can gather and or do independent learning or gather multiple classes. So there's one for every 2 grade groupings. There is an assortment of specials classrooms that includes music, art, and STEM. And then we have a media center, a full-size gymnasium, of course, the cafeteria and stage. And we are looking at locating the district administrative offices in this building to free up space in this building. Go to the next slide. So when we take those spaces, we want to understand how the adjacencies work, what's next to what, and just the overall flow of the building. We developed a couple of concepts that we reviewed with the school district. The concept you see before you is what was settled upon, and it works off a main entrance. You can see there at the bottom of the slide with the red triangle. So one single point of entry that helps with security flow. And then everything's organized. You can see that yellow bar that goes up and down on the screen around a central commons. So that commons acts as a think of a main hallway or main concourse, upon which on the left-hand side, you have 2-story classroom wings. And on the right-hand side, you have your some of your main public and centralized spaces like the gymnasium, the cafeteria. You can see some of the STEM and the art and the music organized around that. And then kindergarten is off to the right with a 1-story classroom wing located there. So if you go to the next slide, get a little bit more detail. So we take that concept and we begin to generate a floor plan and understand the size of the building and how things are organized. So once again, orient yourself to the bottom of the screen. You can see that red triangle at the bottom. Off to the right of that entrance is the main administrative guidance and nurse area. You can see further down there's the kindergarten wings. There are 8 kindergarten classrooms, and the 2 pre-K classrooms are with that. And then attached to that is the district administrative offices. Off to the left-hand side of the entrance, you can see one of the typical classroom wings. And as you work your way from the bottom to the top, these classroom wings are very similar in orientation and size. So you have the first grade, and then above that is the second grade. So that's a 2-story classroom wing. Those collaboration spaces I mentioned are off that commons area, but support each one of those grade groupings. And then as you work your way up, you have art off to the right-hand side of the commons. And then all the way up to the top of the commons, you have music to the other side. So these are the special spaces that everybody's going to be using. So they're easily accessed and off that central spine. And then you can see there the gymnasium. We are planning for some fixed seating. The gymnasium with a full-size basketball court. And then you can see to the north, to the upper part of that gymnasium is the stage. We're looking at a concept where we'll have a stage that's open to both the gymnasium and cafeteria, so it can be used in either function. And then we have the cafeteria and kitchen. And then towards the rear is some of the gray spaces, is some of the mechanical rooms. If you can go to the next slide. As I mentioned before, this is a 2-story concept. So our classroom wings are 2 stories. You'll see there the second grade is stacked above the first grade. The 4th grade is stacked above the 3rd, and the 6th grade is stacked above the 5th grade. And then on that second floor is also where we're locating the media center and the STEM classrooms that are going to be stacked over top of the art. You go to the next slide. So the site that we're looking at, of course, is the site the district owns right across from the middle school, high school. And it is roughly 49.8 acres. And you can see there in blue are the 2 entrances to the middle school portion of the campus. And we're looking to align those entrances with our new elementary school design. And you can see where School Road is on one side and Airport Road is on the other. So Airport Road and School Road border the property. You go to the next slide. So this is how we're conceptualizing that the building fits on the site. So you can see on the bottom left of the screen, you have the Northern Lebanon Middle School, High School, where that red arrow is. So that kind of orients yourself. That drive aligns with that entry drive. And as you work your way around the site, as you're coming in that entry drive, we have a separate bus loop from the parent drop-off. So on the left-hand side of the sheet there, you'll see the bus loop. We're accommodating a separate bus loop on that side. And then to the right is the parent drop-off side along with the visitor and staff parking. So real clear separation of vehicular traffic for safety reasons. And then that drive works its way around. There is separate parking for the district administrative offices. And then as that drive works its way to Airport Road, you now have another access to the site, so that you create essentially a loop around the whole building that aids in safety and security as well. Towards the rear of the building, you'll see another small parking lot that's a service parking lot and another small drop-off area for vans. To the right of the building, in the darker green, you'll see a large play area. That's a play area for the K through 6 students. And then across from that interior access drive, you have 2 multi-purpose fields that'll be used not only by the students, but also by the community. And then you also have 2 ball fields to the lower portion of that. So talk a little bit about the plan you see before you and the estimated cost. If you go to the next slide. So the plan that was generated and what you see before you is approximately 183,700 square feet. So using that as a starting point for our estimate, we're factoring in about $180 a square foot for construction costs. So that gets you to roughly $33 million for your building construction costs. The site plan that we just reviewed, some of those amenities and parking drives and stormwater management accompany the site costs, and they factor in about $3.4 million. The next line item you see there is an estimating and contingency. So that's to forecast what the future might be for where escalation will go and any contingencies that might be changes along the way. And then you get a subtotal of around $38.3 million, and that's where we can expect to be on bid day. So that's our estimate for where we expect construction bids to come in. And then we always talk about things in total project cost. So it's not just the cost of construction, but there'll be other things that are associated with construction that deal with soft costs, and you can see listed there below. Soft costs include things like testing and inspections, regulatory agency reviews, and contingency during construction. So they equate to approximately 8%. We also have project soft costs, so that'll be indirect of construction, but they'll be things like design fees, engineering fees, financing fees, anything loose in the building that the district might buy separate from the construction, like furnitures, computers, things like that. And we're equating about 12% to there. And that gets you to a total project cost of approximately $46.4 million. And now I'll turn it over to Ms. Martin. She'll go through the financing scenarios.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Kirk. So taking his $46 million estimate for the construction cost, I ran some numbers with our financing for a 30-year bond on that $46 million. And as you can see over those years, it averages out to $3,014,000. And then we took some projected savings and put those in for, it would be 10 teaching staff, the reduction of 10 classified staff, and then an energy savings of $25,000. And I just wanted to reiterate, as Dr. Messinger had said, that we plan to do this through attrition, but that we would be experiencing these savings. And the total savings would be $1,455,000. And then taking the net there, we're looking at having to absorb into our budget the $1,559,000. Go to the next slide, Kurt. And then going back, if you remember, previously we had projected some costs to do renovations to the buildings, and that was projected at about $35 million. So I also ran 30-year bonds for that. And with that, you can see it would be a projected cost of $2,260,000. And we don't have any savings there, so that full amount would have to be absorbed into our budget. But with those renovations, we would still have our secure entrances, some new roofing, and we would repair the structures and the flooring at Fredericksburg, as well as all of the elementary buildings would have updated heating and cooling systems and electrical. So then just in summary, we took the two bonds, and you can see the comparison here of the $46 million bond with the net of savings versus the $35 million renovation bond, and the comparison of the two with the one being $1,559,000 for the $46 million bond and $2,260,000 for the $35 million bond. And I'm going to be turning it back over. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we'll talk a little bit about schedule. So as we all mentioned before, we're kind of on the onset of the schematic design phase of the design as we progress through the final stages of where we be at a point where we can bid the documents and solicit bids from contractors. It'll be a process that'll take us through May of 2021. And then with that, we'll be bidding in the June timeframe should the board proceed with all their approvals in the timely manner. And then construction will be slated for beginning in sometime in the summer of 2021 and completing in the spring of 2023. So really, you can expect occupancy of the building starting in the 2023-2024 school year. And important to note on this is the district is working with their with a construction representative, Fidavia, and they're kind of having their eye on the market and trying to push the schedule so that we can take advantage of the current competitive bidding market. So. That kind of concludes kind of the presentation of where we're at right now. I think one of the things that the district wanted to try to do is do another engagement piece. And in light of we would do this a little bit differently, but in light of the situation we're in with COVID, we're going to do it online and try to get some interaction with the public. And I'll turn it over to John to make that presentation.
Good evening. My name is John Badia. I'm with Crabtree Rorbon Associates. I'm going to walk us through the next portion of the presentation to try to garner some feedback from everyone. So if you are here joining us, the Wi-Fi access and password is on the screen for your mobile device. If you're joining us at home, if you could log on to www.menti.com, and there should be a dialog box for you to enter the access code, which is on the screen, 7879213. So we'll give everyone a minute or so to get there and log in. Kurt, are you able to log in? Okay. Can you populate the first question? Okay. So the format of the question's a little bit different. Bear with us as we walk you through. There's different responses and different categories of the project. First one is somewhat demographic. If you could let us know what best describes who you are that's participating as a parent, community, staff member, and so forth. Okay, it looks like everyone that's logging in is at about 14. Okay. Okay, maybe give it a little bit, another second or so. People are still responding. Okay, so that represents a cross-section of those of you that are participating tonight. If we want to advance to the next question. Tell us a little bit about, as a parent, what grade your child is in. Kurt, when you see that number reaches about the same participants, we can advance. It's a little tough to see from here, but is it about 19 or 20? Okay, so here's an example where we're going to start utilizing some images to demonstrate which spaces should be included in the new building to support the different kinds of learning. School building design has evolved quite a bit over the last few years, and each of these images will allow you to select a preference for the types of outdoor learning spaces, collaborative spaces, technology. And if you're on a mobile device, you should be able to zoom into the image to see the image a little bit larger. Okay, does that look like we have about everyone? So here we're starting to explore the idea of what spaces in the new school should be accessible to the community. Okay, looks like the gymnasium, cafeteria, pretty predominant spaces. Okay. So now we have a series of images that as we pan through here, what we're really talking about are the features of a new classroom design. So you'll see things like daylighting, flexible furniture, the ability to move and transition a classroom very quickly. And this will take us some time to pan through the images to allow you to see all 4 of them, and then you'll be allowed to vote at the end or select the one that you prefer the most. You'll see a traditional style setup as an example. Okay, there we go. Okay, yep. So that's classroom 1 and 2. And now here we're looking at most important features of an art room. Now music, so you have an opportunity to vote on both of these. So here's an example of music where obviously the image on the left is providing the greatest amount of flexibility. Could be used for more than music. On the second image to the right is a kind of a more traditional built-in tiered seating, also very effective for band, but a little less flexible. Next question is exploring openness of a cafeteria. Quite often those spaces are so large that they can serve other purposes if they are more open. They do present some issues with numbers of students and noise and so forth. And there are ways to have them visually open with glass. So the image on the left, while it's referring to closed, you can still see it's not all or nothing. There's the opportunity to have it visually open with a lot of glass and shared and borrowed daylighting, or the image on the right is completely open. So Spaces like that could be used for after hours events. If you have an event in the gymnasium, you could easily flow into those kinds of spaces as well. Okay, looks like that's the voting there. So in terms of the library or media center, we're asking that you help rank kind of the top categories of technology, flexible seating, breakout areas, project-based learning areas for students, AV production space, and the last item is book capacity or books. And again, over the years, school design has changed very dramatically. At media centers are becoming very highly used, flexible spaces infused with technology. So they've become collaborative working spaces. Looks like technology's floating to the top. All right, does that look like just about everyone voted? Okay. So now we're going to start exploring outdoor athletics and community use of the fields. And Scott mentioned earlier when you saw the site plan what the opportunity for developing athletic fields. So this is what we're, level of importance, what we're asking. And again, these fields also should be referred to as not only for elementary or PE use, but as in a campus concept, K through 12, any opportunity and community use. Okay, that's pretty clear. So STEM and STEAM learning throughout the project, there are program elements. So looking to ask for you to tell us what you think is most important in that program area. Pretty close first and second. Okay. And as last time, we will share the survey results, and that information will be made available on the district's website as well. And I think at this point then, for the last portion, I will turn it over to Board President Dr. Bucks.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire school board, we want to thank all of you for joining us this evening. We do appreciate the feedback that you have given us in this interactive portion. I want to continue to invite all of you to reach out to us with your feedback, whether that is questions, comments, looking for clarification. We do want to hear from you, and furthermore, we would like to hear from you sooner rather than later. We would like to be able to put all of our heads together to be able to consider your concerns or questions so that we can work together to address your concerns. One way that you can reach out to all of us on the school board all at the same time, there is actually one email address that will send that email to each and every school board member. That is SBM, standing for School Board Member. So that is S as in Sally, B as in boy, M as in Mary, at norleb.k12.pa.us. So we invite you to reach out to us via email. I encourage you to copy Dr. Messinger on any communication as well so that he's automatically in the loop. Our information is also on the district website, another way for you to be able to find our information and reach out to us. We will continue to have monthly discussions and updates from the entire team. Usually these presentations occur on the first board meeting of the month when there are 2 in a month. So I encourage you to tune in for those. They are always on Zoom as well as on YouTube. If you're not available that night, you can always find them posted through the district website as well. So our admin team, along with Crabtree, Rohrbach, and Associates, continue to work together on at least a bi-weekly basis to work out these details. And at those monthly board meetings is where you can get the most up-to-date information. Our next public meeting will be in February next year. So that is the Act 34 hearing. Pennsylvania law requires that any school district that is considering a building project or a major renovation project have a formal public hearing. And this is a large hearing involving all parties involved in the process. Our solicitor will be here, Crabtree, Rohrbach, and Associates, our consulting firm, Fidavia, as well as the board members and our administrative team. At the Act 34 hearing, you will hear all of the details up until that point. So you will hear about the scope and scale of the plan. You'll hear about more details of the site as well as the schematic design. We'll also talk more about the rationale behind why we might plan to go in one direction versus another. We'll talk about alternatives that were considered along the way. We'll also talk about the cost estimates as well as financing of those costs and the schedule should we move forward. As part of that Act 34 hearing, there will also be a session, a Q&A session, where the public can ask questions about this process. So I encourage you to tune in to the monthly board meetings. Every public member can also make public comment at those board meetings. So we invite you, if you have significant concerns, first, we invite you to contact us, but you can also have an opportunity to speak about your concerns at the board meeting. So tune into those. Also, we would like to see you in February at that Act 34 hearing. So we thank you for joining us. If there's any details that you feel are still hanging out there, we are trying to put a lot of this information on our district website. So if you go to the community tab at the top and then choose building updates, you will see every presentation that we've had from Crabtree, Rohrbach, and Associates is posted there. If you go through these and something's not making sense, please reach out to us so we would be happy to explain that to you. If you scroll down to the bottom of that page, there is also an area where you can submit a question directly through the website link. And I believe we also have an FAQ section of previously answered questions. So I believe that concludes our evening. I do thank you on behalf of the school board. Thank you for your concern, for your interest in the district, for your continued involvement in this process. And I wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Thank you.